You walked through that moment of chaos. You did everything that you knew that you were supposed to do, and you did not get the results that you thought would happen. But you know what you learned? Hey now, how is everybody doing? Welcome to Red Alert Diaries with Tanya E. Today, I want to do things just a little bit different. And for those of you that are wondering why Red Alert Diaries is in place, it's because I have walked through a lot of chaos in my life and have constantly reset. So the insights that I've gained along the way, I want to share with you so that you do not have to step on the landmines that I have already crossed. So, Red Alert Diaries, every episode gives you one something, a strategy that you can take away. And I've heard a lot of you say that you're glad that I've done it. And I'm so thankful that the hot mess that I went through is helping you not to keep tumbling into that zone for yourself. But I've also heard you tell me that you want a little more strategy because a few of you have attended the courses that I teach, been in some of the places that I've shown up to share some of the insight that I provided to help you get a better understanding of who you are at the core of your being. So, what I'm going to do moving forward with this podcast is open up Red Alert Diaries to pull out little more touch points from the courses that I've shared. I started off this season by letting you know that I'm opening up a lot more, sharing some of the things that I typically do in other spaces and places here. Well, I'll be opening up over the next several weeks pieces of the course that I typically teach that gives a greater insight about your core being. Because the thing that a lot of you may have heard, and if you haven't heard, it's okay. Because it's true for you no matter when you get the opportunity to hear this. You had everything you needed from the very beginning. We don't often think about the fact that when we're walking through chaos, having to reset our lives, or walking through a journey that we know the last place I wanted to be, the last thing I wanted to do was this here. And you're not really sure how you can get out of it. I want you to know that there is a way that you can move through that process. And a lot of it is you taking some time to dig deep within. But for a lot of us, we don't often, because of the hustle and bustle that life puts us in, know how to draw out the strength that already resides inside of our being. If you have been in an environment that constantly told you no, you could not, no, you weren't capable, no, you did not have the skill set to get things done, then that puts you in a position where you're wondering, can I, will I, is this something that will support me along the journey? So my HAD framework supports you in getting greater understanding about three basic elements that we all possess. Now, there's a whole lot more to your multifaceted being, but if we just focus on three touch points, those touch points will give you a quick way of deciding what part of your inner being that you can draw on to support you in whatever situation that you find yourself in. Now, these three elements are also quickly identified by three color sequences. Heart-centered souls, those individuals that are loving, caring, giving, supportive. Every fiber of your being is designed for you to be connected to somebody's heart, to give the help that often someone doesn't really know that they need. And you, as a heart-centered soul, are often a calm in a storm, a strength that we don't often think that we have. And I know coming from me as an individual, I had to discover that I still have a heart-centered soul inside of my being because a lot of people in my world tried to make me think I wasn't loving enough, wasn't caring enough, wasn't giving enough. But when you are in a position where you are giving what you believe is your element, your version of love, what I often teach, share, and show is that you may have a different hue than somebody else because the hue that resides in my being may not be the hue that's in yours. So the heart-centered elements that I show up with is doing something with you in mind. I may or may not tell you. And because I didn't always think that I had to say what I was doing or express it, there were people around me that really needed to hear it. They needed to know. So when I was giving them what I thought was my heartbeat moment for them, they didn't feel it. They didn't think it was there. It was like that love languages. Those of you that have listened or read the book, Five Love Languages, I wasn't speaking their love language. I wasn't speaking their heart-centered moments. So the strength that I was bringing to the table got missed. Now, there's another part. The action-oriented individual. For those that are action-oriented, you're the go-getter. You are the showstopper. When you walk into the room, leadership has took its step into the environment. You just walk into a space and you know how to get people to do the things that are needed to make certain that whatever goal, whatever task, whatever that is, gets done. Because being action-oriented gives you an opportunity to just do the things. You're probably that person that just shows your love by just doing something for someone. You don't always state it. It's like that silent whisper on someone's back. You're moving, you're doing, so the whisper is felt. But for some individuals that have a different hue than you may seem bossy. You may seem irritating. You may seem like you're just taking it over. That element that I found for me when I showed up in different spaces, because when you're in one environment and you go into a different environment, you may show it in a different element. I show what I do because that inner strength that you have inside of you may not be shown in one area when you show it in someplace else. You may be the powerhouse on your job, showing your leadership abilities, but when you get inside of a personal environment, you may have been conditioned because the world kept telling you, don't do that, stop doing this, to dim down your light, to hide your hue. So inside of your personal environment, it is not seen. So you're not certain what strategy to pull up when it is time for you to reset. That is why I walk through the framework to give you some insight about who you are at the core of your being so that your strength can be pulled up when you need it, can be pulled up when you desire to show your values, your heart, your soul, the pieces of you that you know exist in there. Or maybe you'll get the opportunity to get a revelation because the people around you often see you first. My great grandmother would often tell me, baby, you're too close to the mirror to really see. That didn't always make sense to me, y'all. But when I got older and got a little more understanding, when you are so close to your strengths, your inner gifts, skills, and talents, you don't often recognize that they exist, but the people around you do. That's why they often come to you to ask you to do that one thing that you do so amazing, so phenomenal, because it's your gift. And because it's your gift, it's tied to your inner strength. Then I have my developers. The developers are those that are logical, analytical souls like me. It is what I deem our nerdy moments. Everybody loves to have our process-oriented brain walk through a step of getting things done, but not everybody understands us and when we walk into our visionary elements of thinking. For some, you've been deemed that nerd back in school that may have got picked on, but now you running a company. Now they come to you because of your IT skills. Now you have an element that your strength fully shows up in. And if you get in an environment that supports that, that grows that, that strengthens that, you're more of a powerhouse than you imagine. So when I teach the HAD framework, heart-centered, action-oriented, developers, to let you know that you carry all three of those strengths, when you get a deeper understanding that they are tied to the well of your soul, your core values are showing up, your inner being is showing up, the gifts that you naturally walk into the world will show up. And when you recognize it, when you enter into spaces and places, be it personal or professional, you can determine what you will pull up to support you in that environment. Because for a lot of us, we're an automatic. We're on automatic with the things that we do so we don't pause enough to discover who we are. We're on automatic with the things that we say so we're not clear about the words that are coming out of our mouths. For some of us, we are on automatic because it was a safe thing to do. And if you have been put in a position where your strengths are not really clear to you because somewhere along the way, it got curved a little bit, dimmed a little bit, silenced somewhat because you were misunderstood. I want you to know then you can get greater insight to pull out that element of your being so that you will know how to maximize the use of your inner strengths when you walk into a room, when you step onto the scene, when you do the things that help you realize your dreams. Well, I want you to know that you had everything you needed from the very beginning. And if you learn this a lot sooner than I learned it, you will have the ability to reset when chaos shows up at your door. You will have the ability to reset when you're not sure how to make a move or where the pivots are truly needed. You can still reset. Reset your inner being. If you cannot reset your personal environment, your professional environment, you will still be able to have the peace that you desire, to eliminate the chaos that is coming and move into a direction that is better supported for your inner strength. And here's the next level note I want to leave you with. I have stated that you had everything you needed from the very beginning, because before the foundations of the earth was formed, the essence of who you are was already being created and designed with gifts, skills, and talents for you to pour into the earth. And when you let Jesus join you on the journey, he'll help you manifest that and reveal what you need to help you get healed, to get whole, and to move into a better direction. And so for today, if you don't remember anything I've shared, here's what I want you to remember. Sitting on the edge of my bed trying to figure out how did I get here, but I knew there was a way of getting through this. So I decided to do an autopsy on my marriage. Red alert. Is he the one? The pocket guide to finding the love of your life. The free chapter is available for you in the link below. You had everything you needed from the very beginning. Your heart-centered soul still has an action-oriented element within it as your developer helps make the paths necessary for you to be able to smooth out what's going on in your world. And when you recognize what you can pull up as your inner strength for the environment that you're walking in, the chaos that tries to come and take you out won't have any power within it. And you will find the victory that you desire. So, if anything that I've shared today resonates with you, then it's time to reset. And if you want to go further on that journey, just comment below and say, Tanya, I want to know more. And we can have a one-on-one conversation to give an opportunity for us to explore if what I'm bringing to the table is a benefit for you moving forward. If you want someone to join you on the journey, feel free to go to my website, TanyaEhood.com. There you can click under the Work With Me tab and see the various ways that we can work with one another. And for this season, we will be live on LinkedIn at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we can continue the conversation or we can start a new one. In the meantime, this is Tanya E. Hood walking in my purpose, and I want you to do the same.